Do you want to fast track your career in STEM? Then stay tuned, because today's video is the result of a question that came from an engineer asking just that. She emailed me and said, "What can I do to take advantage of the situation working from home right now to set myself up for success moving forward?" Put another way, how can you best position yourself so that when we fully have a picture of what the new normal is going to be, you're in a spot where you have more role and job opportunities so that you can have the fulfilling career that you want in a position that is perfect for you. Today, I'm going to share 3 moves you need to make now to position yourself for success in both the immediate and long-term future. Before I share those 3 moves, I want to invite you to grab a copy of my book, She Engineers. We're currently running a promotion where anyone with a US shipping address can get a signed physical copy of the book directly from me. You just pay a small shipping fee. This is a practical career guide for women in engineering that works even if you're the only woman in the room. Check it out. The link is below this video. And now let's dive into the 3 moves. Number 1. Uplevel your relationships. So you're working from home and you might feel a bit disconnected from your team. You may also be like I was early in my career, an introvert who really wasn't super comfortable networking with folks, and so as a result tended to stay in my own comfort zone of putting my head down, working hard, and just focusing on the technical work. The pandemic has given you this fabulous opportunity, even if you haven't cultivated any of these relationships previously. And women who embrace this will find that they not just uplevel their relationships, but they can acquire new opportunities right where they are in the roles they have, and even find new jobs with more ease. I have interviewed, talked to, and mapped the trends of hundreds of successful technical women. And the one trend that spanned across all of the most successful is that they created key relationships with decision makers. And they didn't wait for the right mentors and sponsors to come to them. Instead, they focused and mindfully cultivated those relationships. Because we are virtual right now, it's actually easier than ever to reach out to a higher up where you work, or even cold contact someone on LinkedIn that has an interesting job to ask them for a 15-minute coffee chat. So this can be daunting. As an introvert, I completely understand that. So I wanted to share an example of what you might say to reach out. First, here's an example at work. "Hey there. I am being proactive in staying connected to others in the office during this time, and I'd love to have a virtual 15-minute coffee chat to get to know you and understand how I may be able to help you in my role. Can you let me know when might be convenient in the next week or so?" Here's an example of what you might say to someone you're reaching out to on LinkedIn that you don't know. So first, you have to reach out to connect, and that has to be a really short message. So if you're not connected to them already, you could say, "Hey there. I came across your blog, podcast, profile, whatever it is for you, and I'm really inspired by your work in," name that specific technical area of their expertise. "I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn." And then, after they accept your connection, you have a couple of choices on how to proceed. I'm going to share 2 examples of follow-ups here. The goal with both of these follow-ups is to ask the person you've just met for a virtual or in-person coffee chat. So the first one is for if you are curious about their career path. Maybe you want to make a career pivot into their industry. You think their job is really neat and would love to have it yourself someday. Whatever it may be relative to career paths, this is the reach out you can use. "Thanks so much for accepting my connection. I am curious about your career path and would love some advice on the things you've done to be successful so I can model this in my own path. Would you be willing to do a 15-minute virtual coffee chat to share? And if so, let me know when works best for you, and I'll set it all up." The second way you could follow up after that initial contact on LinkedIn is if you want to collaborate with them. You might say, "Thanks so much for accepting my connection. I would love to connect with you to explore potential collaboration opportunities. Would you be willing to do a 15-minute virtual coffee chat to share? And if so, let me know what works best for you and I'll set it up." Notice in both of these reach outs, we're keeping it short And we have a very small ask that makes it easy for the person we're asking to say yes. This is why you absolutely want to make sure that you are the one setting up any of the meetings and dealing with any of the logistics, so all they have to do is show up. You've sent out some of these invitations and the person accepts. So now the question is, what do you actually say in these 15-minute coffee chats? Now remember, you have connected with someone who's likely very busy, and so you want to make sure you stay within the 15-minute time frame that you've requested. That means that it's a really good idea to jot down a couple questions that you want to ask, a rough outline of the conversation, so that you don't forget to ask them and can stick to the time limit. What types of questions might those be? That's what I'm going to share now. So first, what are one or two things that have really propelled you forward in your career? Remember, we're talking about the fast track, not the slow track. So ask them their opinion on what got them to where they are quicker than maybe other strategies that they've tried. Next, where do you think the industry or your firm, if you're talking to your firm's higher ups, is going next? What emerging technologies are you excited about? What advice do you have for someone who wants to follow in your career path? And at the end of the conversation, say, I really appreciate your time. Is there anything I can do to help you? The second move you need to make to fast track your STEM career is to upgrade your skills. Now you've started building relationships, which is the most important thing, and you've asked a whole bunch of questions to gather data, and you're hearing more about emerging technologies in your field, for example. Now, do you want to hear a career shortcut? Pick one of those emerging technologies you heard about when you did those coffee chats and learn everything you can about that subject. When you do that, what you do is you're establishing yourself as an expert in that technology, which means, simply because it's emerging, that you are no longer competing for jobs with people who have decades of experience in a particular subject area. Read books, take an online course, interview those in your industry about those trends with the questions I shared in the first move to make, and learn everything that you can about that technology. And as you're doing that, make sure to share what you're doing with others, and you'll find that you've just shortcutted your way to a better and higher paid position doing work you are really interested in doing, because you now have a rare skill set. Now, skill upgrades do not just apply to technical skills either. If you're eyeing a position in management or leadership, you almost always need to upgrade your public speaking, leadership, and negotiation skills. Again, up-level your relationships first to include people who already do these things, and then invest in yourself via online courses or maybe even a coach to help you hone those skills and make that upgrade. The third move that you need to make if you want to fast track your STEM career is to craft a 3-month career plan. Now, the new normal is constantly changing, and what is working for you right now in your career may not be working for you again in 6 months. Now, that doesn't mean we hang out doing nothing until a couple months pass and we figure out what the new normal is. That is almost career suicide unless you like staying stuck in the same spot. Instead, set some short-term career goals. Although there are lots of goals that you can set, when we identify the types of goals that will provide you with more opportunity fast, so think promotions, a new job, working on that exciting new technology you're fascinated by, there are certain questions that you can use if you want to immediately be able to move the needle in your career prospects in the next 90 days or beyond. So I'm going to share some of those questions to think about and reflect on as you're setting your immediate goals. So first, who do you want to have established a relationship with 3 months from now? Second, what skills have you identified that you need to upgrade? Now, as you're thinking about this, consider if there are skills and areas of emerging technologies where you have a unique opportunity to stand out. Another question to ask, do you see yourself in a leadership position and need to upgrade skills like public speaking or negotiation or communication skills. Finally, how can you make the work you are already doing more visible to people in positions of power in your industry? I talk to women in engineering and STEM all the time, and they tell me about all this amazing work they're doing. But when we dig into it, it often comes up that their managers don't really understand what they're doing. And the higher ups aren't even aware of all this amazing work that they're doing. So if that's you, you may want to set some goals relative to being more visible, either via some of these coffee chats that we've been talking about, or sharing some of the amazing things you're doing either on social media or on any of the company interwebs that you have. To recap, the 3 moves that you need to make now to fast track your STEM career are these. First, up-level your relationships. 2, upgrade your skills. And lastly, craft a short-term 3-month career plan. And let me know in the comments, which one of these are you going to focus on first? Before you go, don't forget to grab your free copy of my book, She Engineers. The link is right below this video. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more practical tools, tips, and strategies to find your voice, engineer a career on your terms, and make your mark on the world, make sure to subscribe to my channel.